Hey team, so today what I'm going to go through with you all is we are going to go through my macro tracking sheet, which is going to help you be able to track your calories easier and just basically give you the understanding and the knowledge as to how many grams of protein, of carbs, and of fats are in a certain amount of food. So now what I've done here is I've gone with 20 of the top kind of, well, there's no such thing as the top food, but kind of ones that we would eat regularly. So that kind of top 20 protein sources, top 20 carb sources, and kind of top 20 fat sources and fruits and vegetables and everything else that goes with it. Okay, so we're going to go through the sheet. It's about 15 pages long, I think. And again, what you can do after this is that you can print it out and then you can have the sheets close by so that you can read them and you get a better understanding of it. But I'm going to go through a video. If you don't want to watch the video, that's fine, but it will educate you and I'll talk a bit more on each of the macronutrients. Okay, so this is the macro cheat sheet. And basically what we are going to do today is I'm going to take you through, like I said, each and every kind of macronutrient, how many grams are in a certain amount. So if I tell you, or if I suggest to you that you need to get 120 grams of protein per day and you're thinking, how do I get 120 grams of protein? Well, then I'm going to show you how much is in each certain piece of food, okay? And we'll go through plenty of them. So what's going to happen here, I'm just going to read, this is the intro sheet, my macro treat sheet. This workbook is designed to educate you on how to easily calculate the right amount of macronutrients of protein, carbohydrates, and fats for your goals. So everyone is different, okay? And you must remember this, that everyone is different. And again, your total daily intake can change from month to month, depending on what you're doing, okay? But again, we're just going to talk to general population here, and that will suit, no matter what your goals are, this is going to suit you. Once you have calculated your calories and your macros using my calorie calculator, so if you haven't used my calorie calculator yet, I'm going to show it to you. I do advise that you put in lightly active, okay? Too many people overestimate, okay? It's better to underestimate. So what I'm going to show you here is I do advise you to put lightly active. That's if you're an office worker, if you're a school teacher, if you have a job where you sit on your butt quite a lot, like I do. Now, yes, you might go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. I still want you to put lightly active. I will only ask you to put moderately active if you are working and you're on your feet all day long. Like you have a really intense job, even if you're a construction worker, you're constantly carrying stuff all day long and you train maybe 5 or 6 times a week, then you'll be moderately active, okay? Or if you are training for an event. But again, this takes coaching experience for me to work with you to figure out what it is your calorie intake is. So this is going to give you a really, really rough idea, okay? And it's usually pretty accurate, tell you the truth. So what you're going to do is on the PDF form, obviously you're watching the video, but when you print this on PDF, what you can do is you just hover over the calorie calculator, you click on it, and then what comes up here, I'm just going to change the share screen. So just bear with me for one moment. New share screen, and I will pull up my calorie calculator. So I'm just going to pull it up right now. So again, you will see here, you just have to enter your name and your age, whatever your sex, sorry, your age, slide the cursor, usually go to metric, kg, centimeters, activity, again, lightly active or moderate. If you're new to this, you haven't done much recently, whatever the case may be, lightly active. If you are training 5 or 6 days a week, or you're training for an event, then moderately active. Don't worry too much about very active or extremely active. You put in your name and your address, and then there'll be a goal. You click on the goal, and then you will press calculate, okay? You'll then be given the top number will appear kind of on the screen, and that will be your total daily energy expenditure, okay? So your total daily energy expenditure is the amount of calories that your body requires from day to day, every single day, okay? So we're just going to come back into our share screen again. So then you'll know how much of the macros you will need for your daily intake. It gives you a recommendation. I do change them to be specific when I get to know the individual. So when you come to me after you have done the calculation, then I do manipulate the calories of the macros, and then I change them from month to month to see how you're going with your goals, etc. So that's the accountability side of it. Okay. Each macronutrient is a number. It's a target that you aim for once you are within the range of total calories and you aim to hit a certain amount of protein, carbs, and fats each day. You're on your way to becoming your own nutritionist. Now, I am going to put this video link is going to go down here. So you will be able to see this video link on the PDF. So it will be inserted in here and you'll just hover over it and click on it and it will take you to YouTube. Okay. So let's get into it. Now, actually, when we say what is mainly important for most people, each of the macronutrients are very important. Protein is for building and repairing. Carbs are for brain function. Carbs are for energy, okay? Our fuel source, our main source of fuel comes from carbs, but the problem is carbs are everywhere. And not getting into too much, but this is the problem, is that carbs get a bad rap due to the fact that people overindulge in them. And remember and fats, for instance, fats are used for hormones, for producing hormones, for our male hormones, for our female hormones, luteinizing hormone, progesterone in males, testosterone. So fats are required in the body, and a certain amount we should be hitting every day. Now, none of excess in any of these, okay? So people give fats a bad rap. They say fats will make you fat. People say carbs will make you fat, or too many carbs will make you fat. It's not any one of the macronutrients that's causing the issue. It's you're overeating on probably all two of them or three of them, okay? So again, we'll find out when we track it, what it is that, maybe you're overindulging, but we do want to have a very balanced meal of protein, carbs, and fats. So getting into it, okay? We've talked for long enough. First thing you will need is a weighing scales, okay? Education around nutrition begins with being able to weigh your food. There's no guesstimating it. You can guesstimate, you might get lucky and you might reach your goal for fat loss in however long it takes. But if you do not know how you get there, you will not know how to continue on your journey. So you must educate yourself, and buying a weighing scales for 10 euros is the way to go about it. Okay. So just make sure that I have this, I'm sharing the right screen. So just bear with me. Macro cheat sheet. Perfect. Okay. So share that one. Now, what we're going to look at here, we're going to look at 20 proteins. Okay. 20 protein sources that you would probably eat from day to day. So what you'd need to look at first is just the name, the calories. Then I've gone with the grams of protein, the grams of fats, grams of carbohydrate, and the grams of fiber added also. Now, all the measurements that I have given you here are going to be in 100 grams. Some of them will change and I will speak you through. So 100 grams, 100 grams, 100 grams, 100 grams, etc. So everything is weighed off 100 grams. And for protein, that's basically 100 grams is like one serving. Okay, so again, it's a pretty good way to give people an easy idea of I need 100 grams of chicken and how many grams of protein is it going to give me. So let's take, we're not going to go through all these. We're going to go through some of them. Let's look at lean chicken breast, cooked. 100 grams equals 157 calories, and it gives you 32.1 grams of protein. So we can round it off and we can say 30. It also gives you 3.2 grams of fats. There's no carbs in chicken, and there's no fiber in chicken, okay? Then I'm going to come down. Ribeye steak, 100 grams, 186 calories. But it gives you roughly 30 grams of protein, which is great. And then you have 7.6 grams of fats. Now, I have another video on nutrition science, which you might want to, which you can watch as well. And that really digs into understanding calories and counting calories. Okay, so that is the nutrition science video. Again, just contact me and I can direct you in that direction. Roast duck, 100 grams, 200 calories, 23.5 grams of protein, 11.2 grams of fats, which, these are all healthy fats. These are really good protein sources. But then you can look at shrimp, 100 grams, it's 119 calories, 22 grams of protein, and it only has 1.7 grams of fat. So again, the total calories for this is pretty low. Now, there's mackerel, hard-boiled eggs, tofu, whey protein powder. Now, with the whey protein powder, one serving would be 30 grams. Yes, I have it in 100 grams here, but it would be 30. Just looking at 100 grams would give you 359. So obviously you don't really want to eat 100 grams of whey isolate protein in one serving. it will give you 60 grams of protein. So 100 grams in weight doesn't give you 100 grams of protein. Everything is different. So you'll have about 60 grams of protein. So, and you have 1.2 grams of fats, and it is high in carbohydrate. Okay, well, it's higher than the rest of them. So what you want to look at here is one serving is usually 30 grams. Okay, so you divide this by 3 and you roughly have a whey protein be about 120 calories, roughly about 20 grams of protein, etc. So hopefully you understand that. And then you can move on to the next one. Lentils, again, vegan options. Lentils, yes, they do have protein, they do have carbohydrates. So 100 grams of any lentils raw. You need to eat a lot more of them. There'll be 352 calories, protein 25 grams, carbohydrates 60 grams, 63 grams. Okay, feta cheese, again, you have a good source for 100 grams. Maybe you need to cut this back to like 30 grams serving because it is high in calories. Some protein, 14, 21 grams of fats, cheddar cheese. And then I just go through a couple of cheeses here. Pumpkin, again, just have a look at the calories, have a look at the weight. So what you got to do is you got to get your piece of chicken or whatever the case may be, and you put it on, you weigh it 100 grams, and that will roughly give you, the protein source. I do weigh my chicken when it is cooked, due to the fact that water, when you cook chicken, it loses a lot of water. So you might weigh 100 grams of chicken, and when it's cooked, it might only weigh 70 grams. So I do weigh my chicken cooked just to make sure I am getting the protein source in, because again, there isn't any, there's no carbs in it, it's just protein. And yeah, it's a good source of protein. Now, all the ones down here, and we'll get back to these again. Cashews, it's a source of protein. These are all nuts and peanut butters, etc. These are, if you look at the 100 grams, very high in calories. Okay, they're not bad. It's just you have to understand the quantity that you are consuming. So cashews, 100 grams, 500 calories, 18 grams of protein, 43 grams of fats. Great fats to get into the body. Good dietary fats. Remember, we talk about fat, we talk about dietary fat. We're not talking about adipose tissue, which is the fat around, that we hold in our bodies due to excess overeating in calories. Then you have your carbohydrates like so, and you have fiber. So again, as you begin to see that your fiber, these are great sources of fiber, but they're also great sources of calories. So, when you are maybe on a diet or you want to implement how to get different variety of foods into your diet daily, then we will be looking at maybe only having 30 grams. The most amount of nuts I would personally eat in one sitting is 30 grams, but that's still high in calories. So you have to work out, maybe it's 10 grams of nuts that you have. Again, it's small, it's a portion, but you must understand the nutritional quality of nuts. There's amazing nutrients in them. We're not just talking about macronutrients, we're talking about micronutrients. We're looking at our overall health. Okay, but I am going to break these down for you into serving sizes later on. Okay, so next up, we're looking at carbs. 100 grams of carbs. 100 grams of carbs per serving. Boiled potatoes, sweet potatoes, brown rice, cooked rice, pasta, whole wheat pasta, multigrain. So I'm always looking at multigrain, and I'm always looking at whole wheat, and I'm always looking at like the best options. But again, I'll go through plenty of other ones here. And then we have a second sheet where I'm going to go through mainly fruits and vegetables. Okay, so carb content. So if you look up at the top this time, I go the name of the product of the food, the calories in 100 grams, the carbs in the 100 grams. So I switched them around. So I bring the carbs because these are higher in carbs. So I want to educate you on the carbs part. Fiber, again, fiber in the diet, really important, protein and fats. And what you'll begin to see is with boiled potatoes, 100 grams. Again, I take my measuring, my scales, I put 100 grams on top. That will be your 100 grams. It has 20 grams of protein. I'm not going to be talking about 0.1, okay, and all this stuff. So please, when I kind of round off the number, just bear with me. Fiber 1.8, protein 1.9, 0.1 fats. So about 87 calories in 100 grams, and you're getting your 20 grams of carbs. So maybe what I should have said actually about the fats. Imagine if you needed to get, if your goal was to hit 120 grams of protein per day. Sorry, I had to backtrack. Then you'd look at maybe 30 grams in chicken. So 100 grams of chicken. Maybe I might have shrimp in the afternoon, 100 grams of shrimp. That's 50 grams of carb or fats now. Then I might have had fish for dinner, added 20. That is 70 grams of protein. You might have had 2 eggs earlier on in the day. Now that's up to 80, just over 80 grams. And then you have a scoop of whey protein, which is 30 grams. And then that's 110. And then there'll be other bits and pieces that you eat throughout the day that will hold protein as well. So that's how you will get your, if you're whatever your recommended protein intake is, that's how you add it up to get your 120, 140, 160. If it's 200 grams of protein you're on, then again, you need to eat more protein. You must get more meals in throughout the day, or else maybe you eat 200 grams. Maybe you eat 200 grams of chicken breast, which gives you 60 grams. Maybe you have 2 protein powders in the day. That's another 60. That's 120 grams all of a sudden. So you have to work out what works best for you and what sources you enjoy. But I like to give you obviously different variations so that you can mix them up, okay? Yes, we're getting the protein into us, but proteins are made from amino acids, and the more different sources of protein you can get in, then the better it will be for the overall amino acid profile that we are getting into our bodies. And it just keeps your taste buds under control and happy and everything else. So you're getting different variations of the protein. So sorry about that. Back to the carbs again. So you go, let's just say you're looking at whole wheat pasta, 100 grams of pasta. That's probably uncooked, or uncooked is the thing you have to be careful here is with rice. 100 grams of rice, cooked rice. So these are probably the difference between cooked rice and uncooked rice. So if you had 100 grams of uncooked rice and you cook this, it becomes about 300 grams. So this is where you have to be careful. You have to learn to read the labels also. But from my own experience here, 100 grams of cooked rice is 130 calories. It's almost 30 grams of carbohydrate, low in fiber, a little bit of protein. So again, you can get little bits of protein in from other sources. It doesn't have to be direct from straight up protein sources. Whole wheat pasta, 100 grams cooked, 149 calories, 30 grams of carbs, etc. Whole wheat bread, 100 grams, that might be 4 slices of bread, okay? Again, weigh the bread and you figure it out. But again, for the overall context of this, we're looking at the 100 grams. Soy milk, so just think about milk as well. There's carbs in milk. Soy milk, nice and low, full fat milk would have probably a bit more higher in carbs, but again, it's all in moderation. And obviously milk holds calcium. Problem is what people say when it comes to counting coffees. People are having large coffees, but they're having full fat milk in it, and they might have it twice a day. So you could be having 300 grams or mils of full fat milk, which would be high in calories. The coffee isn't the problem. It's the milk in the coffee. And again, if you have 3 coffees a day over 7 days, you've had 21 coffees. Lo and behold, you've had an extra 2,000 calories at the end of the week through coffee. You'd be surprised how many people underestimate that, but getting back to it. Beans with tomato sauce, 100 grams, 77 calories, 13 grams of carbohydrates, high in protein for a little serving of Heinz beans, okay? Oats, 100 grams of oats. This is where people got to be careful of with the oats. You see, again, you need to weigh it. It's 100 grams will give you 371 calories, 68 grams of carbs, fiber, high in fiber, great source of fiber though. And again, protein is pretty good in protein as well. But what I would recommend would be somewhere between 30 to 50 grams. Say if it was 50 grams, then you'd half the calories, half the carbs, half the fiber, half the protein. So hopefully you understand that. Weetabix, again, if you're into the Weetabix, I just wanted to put them in there. 100 grams, 371, high in carbs, high in fiber, high in protein, but you might have 50 grams, okay, which would be better overall, unless you have room to eat 371 calories. Beautiful, get the 100 grams of Weetabix into you. Now we're just going to look at fruits and vegetables here, or some fruits here, okay? Again, all in 100 grams. Let's look at an apple, 52 calories in like a Granny Smith green apple. If it was 100 grams, which would be a pretty decent sized apple. 13 grams of carbohydrates, fiber and protein and fat. So again, good source of carbohydrates. The sugars that come from fruits, again, they're naturally formed in fruit. So don't be thinking of it like a sugar that you get from the shop that is you're putting into your coffee, or sweets and stuff that you're eating that is processed. So again, it's good to look at, the carb content. All the calories I can see, 100 grams, it's all low in calories. Yeah, there's carbs, but they're not bad carbs. They're good for you. Micronutrients as well. The fiber, loaded with fiber, not so much protein, but again, you get the gist of it. Carrots, 100 grams of carrots, like low in carbohydrates, 10 grams fiber, etc. But again, if you're like throughout the day, you need to hit, let's just say, for instance, 200 grams of carbs. You'll be looking, okay, how am I going to get my carb sources in today? I always recommend whole foods, tell you the truth. Yes, you could get it from sports drinks, but I'm trying to feed you. I'm trying to give you as much energy as possible. I'm also looking at complex carbohydrates compared to simple. Simple do have their simple carbohydrates, like bagels and white bread, do have their place. But again, what I'm not trying to do is spike blood sugars. What we're trying to do is have a complex carbohydrate that it's slow releasing energy, and it won't give you that sugar craving or spike, and you can eat loads of these, 100 grams. So imagine you wanted to get your 200 grams in. Like I said, look, the bagel is there. It's multigrain bagel. 100 grams would be 50 grams of carbs. You just have to look at, okay, 100 grams of rice. I have rice in the evening, 100 grams. That's 30 grams of carbs. I have some Heinz beans at some time of the day. That gives me an extra 13. I have oats in the morning. That gives me an extra 30 grams of carbs. And maybe I do have whole wheat bread. I have 2 slices. That gives me another extra 20 grams of carbs. And this is where MyFitnessPal comes into play. You weigh your food, and then you add it to MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, and it'll automatically do all the maths for you, as you hopefully already know. Okay, so again, apples, then you might have two pieces of apple, or 2 apples, or 2 pieces of fruit throughout the day. You might have a banana, 22 grams of carbs for 100 grams. You might have a piece of fruit, apple. So you have 35 grams of carbs there to add to your 200. So that is your carb intake. Now with the fats, what I'm going to do here, it's still in 100 grams, but fats are high in calories. Fats hold 1 gram of fat. 1 gram of fat equals 4 calories. So they're higher in calories, but they are so important for the system in general. Okay, we do want to be hitting a certain amount of fats. I usually recommend about 1 gram per kg of body weight. So if you weigh 65 kg, you should be hitting at least 65 grams of fats per day. Protein, I probably should have mentioned, is, I look at trying to get people in around the 2 grams per kg of body weight eventually. But again, that's on the nutritional science video. I don't want to go too much into that because it's a separate video. But here we're going to look at the fats per 100 grams. Fats per 100 grams again. And then what I'm going to do is the serving sizes. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I would recommend when it comes to the serving size. So let's have a look here. Olive oil, sesame oil, coconut oil. These are 100% fat. Okay, so if you had 100 grams of olive oil, which would be insane, which I would never recommend, but imagine when you're cooking oil and you just start to flog it in, and all of a sudden there's 20 or 30 grams of olive oil in the pan. That's a lot of calories that you're cooking in. So you must be respectful of the olive oil and the coconut oil, etc. Again, 100 grams or 100 mils will be 884 calories. It's 100 grams of fats, no protein, no carbs, no fiber. And I've added in sugar also at this time. Okay, sesame oil, coconut oil, again, looking at it, it's 100 grams, 100 grams. So you have to be really respectful of the fats and how much you get into. Like I spoke about the nuts earlier, and I will go back, or you will see in just a moment when I go back into that. So where are we? Olive oil, nuts, cacao powder is here, almonds, 100 grams of almonds. So lots of nuts contain almost everything. They contain fat, healthy fats. They contain protein. They contain carbs, and they also contain a very decent amount of fiber. Fiber in the diet, we are looking for about 14 grams per 1,000 calories consumed. So if you consume 2,000 calories, you should be having about 28 grams of fiber in your diet. Okay. So again, almonds, 100 grams, high in calories, almost 600. Peanuts, again, 567. Have a look at the fat content here, is like 49 grams of fats per 100 grams, but they're also high in calories, high in protein, high in carbohydrates. Smooth peanut butter, exact same again, it's just peanuts broken down. Cashews, pumpkins, chia seeds, 100 grams. Again, cheddar cheese. So again, just for the purpose of this video, I wanted to give you all in 100 gram measurements because you get used to measuring 100 grams, okay? And it makes it a lot easier to kind of break down and understand. And then back again here, because what we were looking at the start was the protein. Remember that we're looking at the protein, but much the same food choice that you make will have protein and they will have fat. So your hard-boiled egg, 155 calories, 10 grams of fats, 12 grams of protein, and 1.1 grams of fat. So you must realize that some foods, a lot of foods hold fats and a lot of foods hold protein. It's just, so you get, like with a piece of salmon, for instance, let's just take the piece of mackerel. You have one piece of mackerel at 100 grams. It's 189 calories. You get a good source of fat from it, and you also get a good source of protein. So you're killing two birds with the one stone. Okay, ribeye steak, again, it's 100 grams fat, 7.6, good source of protein. Salmon, 6.3 grams of fat, high source of protein. So again, these are the ones you want to be looking at for good fat content, good protein content. Oats, again, high in calories, but again, you get your fat, you get a bit of fat in there. Like I said, we'd be looking at probably having 50 grams as a serving here just to reduce the calories. But again, you're reducing the fat, you're reducing the protein, you're also reducing the carbohydrate. And then I just put in Greek yogurt as well. Chobana was the only one I could find. 100 grams, 150 calories. Again, you've got to get used to reading food labels. But again, I'm trying to give you whole foods as much as possible. Now, I am going to, this is the one where I will actually explain to you about the recommended serving. Okay, so again, we're going through the exact same list of fats here, but this time it's per serving. Now, what I want you to remember, because on some of these it will say 1 oz, 1 teaspoon, etc. If you look down here at the bottom, 1 oz equals to 28 grams. I always weigh my food in grams. Always weigh my food in grams. If it's 1 teaspoon, then it is 5 grams. Okay, but again, what you can do is you can put, say for peanut butter, you can put the peanut butter jar on the weighing scales. Okay, whatever the number comes up, you press the 0 mode, or it says tar, and it resets the scales. And then when you take out your peanut butter, the number will come up here on the, sorry, what's the camera? The number will come up here. So you put your peanut butter on, or your cooking oil, press 0, lift off the cooking oil, pour it in, put it back, and the exact number, how much you have taken from the tub or from a pot or from whatever, will tell you how many grams you have taken. Okay. So if I was cooking with olive oil, I would have 1 teaspoon. That's what I'd be aiming for, which would be, like I said, 5 grams down here. It gives you 40 calories compared to the 900 we had while ago when we had 100 grams, 4.5 grams of fats, no protein, no carbs, etc. Mixed nuts, if I was having a fist of nuts, I wouldn't eat any more than 30 grams. You might be 20. If you're smaller than me, you need less calories. If you do less exercise than me, you need less calories. But the same principles will apply. I will try and eat the exact same foods as you, or you will try, well, you don't have to eat the exact same foods as me, but it's giving you the idea that it's just the quantity that changes. We're looking to get whole foods coming from the ground, foods coming from the trees, rich in sunlight, come from the earth. Like these are healthy food choices that we need to be making. If we are opening something in a packet, there's a good chance that there's going to be a lot of preservatives in it. There's going to be a lot of things in that are going to affect gut health, which again is on another conversation altogether. But we need to understand the more whole foods we can get into our diet, the better will be. The more satiated we will feel, the more volume of food we can actually get in. Okay, but again, cacao powder, this should be 1 teaspoon again, which would be 5 grams. Or there is a tablespoon. This is tablespoon, but that would be 10 to 15 grams. 30 calories, etc., etc. Almonds, 1 oz, which again is 28 grams, talking about 23 almonds maybe. But again, still high in calories, 100, depending on what your goals are. You might have 20 grams, which would bring the calories down but it gives you 14 grams of fats, 6 grams of protein, etc. Peanut butter, again, having a scoop of peanut butter, like I said, about 30 grams. This is probably one of the parts where people really dog it on the peanut butter. I'm guilty. I'll eat a whole tub of peanut butter. Put your peanut butter on top of the weighing scales, press 0, get the spoon, dig it out, put it in, look at the score or look at what number is left, and that's how much peanut butter you have taken from the jar. Now we look at, again, it's cashews, 28 grams, 157. Chia seeds, 28 grams give you 138 calories, and again it's going to give you fats and proteins and carbs. Okay, feta cheese, avocado, 30 grams of avocado. Maybe you decide to have 2 Oz, which is almost 60 grams. You just double the calories. Okay, basically. Roast duck, again, 100 grams. Olives, 100 grams of olives. Here, oh, I never changed the setting on those. Or yes, I did. There was no need to actually. So again, what we would think about is where we have reduced the serving size. There are some things that you just don't need to reduce the serving size on. Like roast duck might be like it's 100 grams. It's still low and it's still only 200 calories. Loads of fats, plenty of healthy fats, plenty of protein. Olives, 100 grams, again, 116 calories. You know, maybe you do only have 50. Obviously, you don't, 100 grams of olives would be a lot. But again, it's the fat source that comes in olives is what's kind of important here. Hard-boiled eggs, etc. And then, like I said, ribeye steak, 100 grams, salmon at 100 grams. Your quick oats, 1 Oz, roughly 30 grams, is 105 calories, 1.9 grams of fats, 3.9 grams of protein, almost 20 grams of carbs, and your yogurt, which is at 100 grams. So hopefully now you get an idea of that. You can print this off so that you can educate yourself and, you know, use it as a shopping list. Go get all the stuff on a shopping list. Obviously, there's loads more foods out there that you can actually purchase as well. But I just wanted to give you a rough idea and an understanding of how you know how much fat and how much protein is in a certain source. But what you got to do is you've got to track it, you've got to weigh it, and then you've got to put it into MyFitnessPal, or I'm a big fan of Chronometer. For any of my clients, I do use MyFitnessPal due to the fact that it links with the True Coach app, so I can see your calorie intake, and it's a great starting point. But the big focus is, you know, we're getting a certain amount of calories that we do require. We need a certain amount of protein, and this sheet will help you. And then we do need a certain amount of fats, and we do also need carbohydrates in a diet. You should never, ever, ever cut a macronutrient out of your diet. Okay. But again, I have a nutritional science video. All you got to do is ask me for the link and I can send it to you. And again, I take my students through all these nutritional science, nutritional education, make it easy for you to follow and give you guides on where it is and what it is you need to do from week to week. You're not going to hit your target on day 1. You're not going to hit it on day 7. It takes time and it takes practice, and it gets you into the routine of actually doing it. Okay. So here again, if you want to know any more about me, you can click on my website. Again, when you view this PDF on the computer, you can just click the link here. You can just click on to email me if you have any questions. If you would like to set up a free road backing call, 20 minutes call, risk-free, talk to me. I'll lead you on the journey, show you where it is you need to go, ask you a couple of questions, and that way, you know, give you a bit of clarity on what it takes to move forward. You can apply for coaching with me by clicking on the link here. It'll take you to my questionnaire. All you got to do is fill it in. We can have a call, no obligation. And again, see if you like what I do and I like what you want to do. And if we can work together, that's great. Then you can obviously follow me on Instagram and you can follow me on Facebook. Facebook is not dead, people. Facebook is where any of the group coaching that we do is held in Facebook. All the guides are in there. It makes the social community aspect of it amazing and so forth. So that is my protein or macro cheat sheet. Like I said, again, what you can do is if you are watching this, fair play, I will have a link down here that you can just rewatch this video again. But if you have any questions at all, please come see me, send me a message, click on the links. Again, I'm free. I'm up here to chat. And yeah, I hope this is of use to you. Okay, so don't be afraid to reach out. Okay, just ask the question and I'll be here to help you. Take care. Bye-bye.